welcome! It's Monday night! I'm your host, TJ Thompson. I'm so excited to have you guys here. Hopefully live for Monday movie night. Hopefully you're not trying to be like the crazy co-hosts that I have that have just got recently a multi-view in front of them where they can make funny faces at me all night. So apparently that's going to be a thing from now on, is where they try to distract me during my introduction when I'm all by myself. I don't know which one started it off. It could have been this guy. Maybe it was Brian Smith that started off trying to.
Yeah, hey, I hope you're watching us live, but also if you're not watching live, we still love you. TJ, don't discourage the not live viewers. In fact, I assume most of the people who watch this are not watching it live, so
we love
you, not live viewers.
You are correct. Kim, do you got much love for the non-live viewers as well?
I have love for the live viewers and the non-live viewers because some people are busy on Mondays. So if you want to join us on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or the weekend, we're here. We're here for it. I'm here for it. Much love.
Yeah. Oh, sorry,
Hi,
guys.
Friends.
And so I think we should jump in. So if you guys don't know what Monday movie night is, or if you're not a live viewer and you're watching on a rerun, let me quickly explain what it is. So every Monday night, we come together and we talk about a movie we watched during the week. We select a movie each week. It's been going in rotation. So we used to just kind of pick it random, but now it's going me, Brian, Kim, me, Brian, Kim. And, yeah, I'm gonna catch you guys since you made fun of me with your faces down. You thought you were off. You could know when you're on and off now, so your responsibility is on you. So we pick movies through the week and we watch them and we talk about them. We give them a score at the end of the show, and it's kind of getting competitive because it's tightened up over the weeks. So we do have a pre-show though. So if you don't watch live, that's one thing you are missing out on, is you only get the show. You miss the bookends of the pre-show and post-show shenanigans. Here's a comment to demonstrate the amazing fun that we have in the pre-show. And the comment is, I went to 4 different high schools. I didn't care about a class ring. If you want to find out the context for that show, comment. You got to watch live. I mean, you have to, or you have no context, because that is a pre-show comment, completely off the cuff. You know nothing about. You have to be here live to enjoy it. Anyway, tonight's movie was The Vast of Night, right? Mm-hmm. And we keep wanting to do In the Vast of Night, but it's The Vast of Night. Yeah. It was on Netflix. It was Brian's pick.
Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime.
That's right. It was a Prime original. It was on Amazon Prime. We're truly professionals. Let's check out the trailer, and then we'll let Brian kick us off and kind of walk us through what it was about.
Number, please.
Hello? Is that train? Large object holding over my land like a spear.
That's so good.
This is WOTW Radio in Cayuga, New Mexico, and this is the news for the hour.
Now, what would you like to tell us about yourself?
I don't know.
Cool, aren't you like some big science girl? Tell me about science.
Everett, it's Faye. The sound came through the board and interrupted your radio show.
What it sound like?
What's going on, Everett?
718 here at WOTW. We got a sound we'd like to play that seems to be bouncing around the valley tonight.
Yes, I have a story that might be helpful.
I can tell you what's going on.
The sound we heard out in the desert, it was coming from thousands of feet higher than anything could fly.
They've come here before. They've liked this place. They always have.
It is 7:45 p.m. and we may have something that'll need some control. What?
We followed it from Colt Canyon.
Hey!
Who's that? It's Everett. Stop smiling. What's he doing here? He's helping me. Stop smiling.
Get in! It's outside of town! Come on! Hey, come on!
Something's up there now. It's something talking. And they don't stay for long.
Hey,
Everett, take the wheel! What's going on? There's something in the sky.
right. Cool. That was weird. That's not supposed to do that. Weird Star Wars wipe transition. Apparently, I got to reset up my show. I don't know. It's all good. Ryan, take us through what this movie was about.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, like the trailer's fine. I'm so glad I didn't watch that before I watched the movie. Because I read about this movie, and what I read was it was made for $700,000. It was under $1 million spent on the film, and it was kind of Halloweeny, and that's why I picked it. It was a low budget Halloweeny movie, and I mean, we can talk about the plot and all that stuff as much as we want. This movie is phenomenal. Everybody, if you really haven't watched it, go and watch this one. I was shocked. Uh-oh.
Yeah, Sand says backing out now to watch it.
Oh
Bye.
yeah, you should. Yeah, for real. Go. Everyone, go and watch it. So the story is it's framed like an old Twilight Zone episode. In fact, it starts off like you're watching a knockoff episode of the Twilight Zone. If there's anything that maybe knocks it a little bit, is I feel like they use that framing device a little too much sometimes throughout the movie. But it starts off in an old school, like oval shaped 1950s TV, and it goes from watching this thing called Paradox Theater into it slowly transitions into the real life moment of the people. And it's about a radio DJ and a 16-year-old girl who works at a, what is that called? The phone
Switchboard.
Connector booth with switchboard.
The switchboard.
Yeah, and they hear a sound in their tiny little town in New Mexico, and they investigate the sound, and it's a really small movie, small cast, small town, small area. But they do such a great job of atmospheric. Just it's not scary. Just I don't know. It feels like an awesome episode of Twilight Zone, like an eerie, off-putting, but super engaging movie. With I want to hear from you, TJ and Kim too, because there were some of all the movies we've seen. Maybe War Horse is up there. This was the most artfully crafted film I think we've done so far. To me, where I was like, oh man, someone worked real. Even the trailer, that little panning shot of her, she's like, plugging in the switchboards. There's like a 8-minute section of this movie where it's just her stress plugging in 1/4-inch cables and answering phone calls, and it was super engaging.
Yeah. No, there was a ton of like steady shots in this that I mean, we could talk about some of the cinematography of it, but before I do, I want to Kim, did you watch the Twilight Zone ever? Do you know what the Twilight Zone is? Did you ever watch the
I'm
Twilight
familiar
Zone
with the Twilight Zone, but no, I didn't. I'm gonna give a disclaimer. I do not like scary or horror or super suspense. I mean, I like some suspense, but not too much suspense. And so, no, I never really watched the Twilight Zone, but I do know about the Twilight Zone. I would recognize like the theme song, like I have some familiarity with it, but no, I can't really say that I've actually watched a full episode. I'm trying to think if I ever have, but I don't think I have. So no. To answer your question simply, no.
What would you say that awesome. This was? What would you describe this movie as then? Would you say it was horror? Would you say
no? I think it was just a spit. Do you want me to give my review of it now?
Yeah, go for it. I'm curious. I'm curious as to. I'm most curious
to your opinion. I think that I am going to be the one that's opposite of you guys tonight. I didn't hate this film, but I didn't super love it either. I feel like there's moments of brilliance in the movie, and then there's moments where I was like, what's going on? Where are we going with this? Like, why are we watching her? Like, you talked about how you love that switchboard scene. I was like, are we still sitting here watching her switch lines? Like, what are we doing? But there was parts of the movie that was amazing. Like, this is going to throw into the cinematography element, but the way they transition from locations of following that character, that was really cool. Like, I love that. But going to the basic story, it was like a Much Ado About Nothing a little bit. Like, I feel like I was wanting more, and then we got to the end, spoiler alert, I was like, I wanted more. So I don't know if that's a good thing, but for me, I was almost frustrated. Like, really, this is the end of the movie? Like,
So you want it to be
I was
more like
hoping it would flash to
Guardians of the
modern
Galaxy? They
day.
go up and become like Groot's friend or something. Like...
No. To be honest, I was expecting, because the beginning scene, it looks like it's like a modern room, and then it's zooming into this old like 50s like TV, like this old Twilight Zone looking TV. And I was like expecting to come into modern day, and there's some kind of like revelation that's happened where I don't know, like I was expecting it to continue. And so I was really disappointed in that. And maybe, I don't know, I will say it left me suspenseful. There was really, I wouldn't call it horror because really nothing happens. It just leads you to think that something's about to happen at any moment, but really it doesn't. And I mean, at the end, you do see like this flying saucer hovering over them, and then it's going to make you assume, spoiler alert, that they've been abducted, right? But it's just leading you to your own conclusion. And so it really could go either way, right?
Supervan Russ is saying,
Yeah.
surprise, surprise, as to
Surprise,
you being the Debbie Downer on the movie. So
I'm not, like, I really want you to know that I didn't hate, like, I'm not like, this movie's amazing, it's the best movie ever. I'm not there. But I can appreciate it, and I do think there was great elements in this movie.
Yeah, I'd say the part of it that I
Yes?
thought I
No?
liked is that it was a smaller story. It wasn't about, so because we didn't really finish the plot. It's a radio DJ, a switchboard operator investigating this extraterrestrial sound, and they end up being abducted at the end. That's how the movie ends. And there's nothing in the movie story wise that hasn't been done a million times. Like the creepy old lady has happened. The like weird dude on the phone has happened a million times. All the pieces have been done. It was just done so well to me, and I liked that. I liked that it wasn't about an abduction. It was about the moments leading up to an abduction, which I think made it feel different.
Right.
One of the things I was telling Sarah when she was watching it, because she kind of felt the same way you did, Kim, that she was like, "That's it, it's over," and I was like, "That was." I was pumped. I felt like the camera almost was like the extraterrestrial, or we like it was. It felt sneaky. The camera angles a lot of times felt like it was down low, and it was like following behind people or looking at them as they were walking through cars. It almost felt like you were stalking people all throughout it.
Or how it transitioned where she was left at the switchboard, and then remember it like hovers to him, like it goes through the school.
That scene,
so it does almost become a character of its own in some scenes.
That scene though, where it goes from the switchboard operators all the way through town, through a packed basketball gym, through a window, down to the ground. I feel like I could go to that town and walk around. Like, it's been a long time I've seen a movie where I feel like I understood the geography of the movie as well as I did this one. And I don't know why, but that scene, I was like, something is about to happen. Like, Sarah told me to go let the dog in, and I was like, I cannot move because something is about to happen. That's what it just felt like the whole time.
Like, and I think that was part of my disappointment, is I was like, at any moment it's about to happen, and you're waiting, and it never really happens. Like, you get little tidbits here, and you get a little more suspense, and the music would rev up. I was like, okay,
man,
it's coming. I gotta get so tense. Good. I gotta tense myself up because it's coming, and then it never would come. So it was like this ebb of flow of like emotions that you go through, because you're feeling like at any moment, like this, it's like signs, like the alien's about to walk across the cornfield. You're waiting for that moment, and it never happens. You never see it. You really never see it.
Yeah, that's why I like that part of it. TJ, it was the difference between a soundtrack and a score. This movie had a score, right?
Yeah,
for original.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely had a score. It had a theme, and that's what that's what I think I liked about like the music side of it, was that there was thematic elements. Like there's a scene, it's where you guys are talking about. So basically you start with this long opening follow shot of just the guy, and you're getting to know that he's like this Mr. Fast talking personality. I was actually a negative, I would say, is I felt like the dialogue went too fast in the beginning.
It took me a couple minutes to learn like what was happening. Like I had to turn the volume up. I had to focus and be like, okay, I got to hear what they're saying.
Yeah, it went a little too
I think even
quick.
at one point in that scene, I think when they're walking to the switchboard, I was like, what is happening here? I am so confused. Like, I was frustrated at that scene.
Yeah, they were trying to fit a lot, into a really really short amount of time there, and it was a little too much. Like to me, it was a little too much in the opening scene, but it wasn't bad. It was just it was distracting, and the just the dialogue was just so fast. But back to what we're talking about, so it basically follows them, and the shot that's following them is almost like you're walking with them.
Mhm.
Like it's at a pace that like is like you're walking with them, and the music is kind of like following of more of like ambient sounds. You're getting basketballs and all that. But then when there's that transitional moment of when it leaves her, goes low and then picks up speed, you get into the theme like that repeats throughout the
Mhm.
like the film whenever the noise starts coming up or these moods. So I love that. I love that they had a theme that they kept through it. There was one song that was kind of wonky that came out of nowhere. I'll be honest, I didn't note it. I just remembered when you were kind of mentioning the score. I think it was at the when they go to get the baby out of the house.
Mhm.
When she goes to the house, it was just this really quirky song where it was kind of like, we need a little something here that's different because it wasn't like monster oriented or alien oriented. And it was a little pulled me out. And I think that is really the story for me behind the whole movie is that it really was a great film at $700,000. It looked fantastic, but there were
Mhm.
moments in it that showed that it felt like an amateur esque film when it came to maybe storytelling and edits. It's like if I could have given you like let's say that 700 was your budget. I feel like if I'd have gave you two and then gave you a couple months, this could have been at a whole nother level. So $2 million, 2 months. I feel like you could have taken it places. I feel like they fell back on the screen resolution thing to cover just some transitional moments that maybe they didn't have in the can. I don't know that that's what it was, but that's what it felt like. And those moments would take me out of it. I'm like, okay, we're coming to this screen because we don't have the shots we need to transition. And they could have the one where it was when they pull out and it's her. They
Just
could have
running.
just cut. They could have just cut the scene. Like they didn't have to come out to
Mhm.
the TV and then back in. Um, there's
I think
And
another.
I felt like sometimes we'd go to the TV and go to black, like come back into black. I didn't like
I
that at all.
loved all of it, man. Because we're talking about Twilight Zone. I really do like the Twilight Zones. I watched my grandma, I watched my mom. I watched them still. They're awesome. And I the way because I think they overused the TV screen thing a couple times. But this movie was like a homage to a certain genre of storytelling, and they hit all the beats great. And I think those moments were supposed to is almost make it feel like it was episodic because Twilight Zones, they're anthology shows, and it was a way to give it an anthology feel, but in a
But it
longer
wasn't at a
format.
natural break though. Like it never felt like a natural break.
It felt forced a lot.
I could have done with the setup and then let's leave it alone. Like like let's not go back to the TV till the end. Like I could have done with the whole TV transitions through the whole piece and been fine. Another thing that I feel like I'm beating it up. I liked it. Like it looked great. I really think everyone did a good job, especially for it being an amateur quote unquote film. But I didn't like the monologuing that went on. Like
Mm.
the man on the phone is too long. It's
I
too
thought it was
long.
so good.
The lady talking in her house is too long. It's
No way,
just too
dude.
long. Yeah, man. Even the switchboard scene for me got too long. I
Mm-mm.
liked the switchboard scene because there was more action in the frame than in the uh, radio station and the old lady's house. But there was one point where I was just looking like I wasn't even paying attention to what she was saying because I was like, this is you've already gotten the information out there. Now you're just elaborating on it. Was when I was looking for the camera to be dollying or not. Like I was looking at the edge of the frame here, and I was like, "Is the camera moving anymore?" Because I think it's just giving up. Like it's just like we were like
She's still
slowly
talking,
pushing
but
in,
it's out
and
of
then
length.
yeah, and then it's just like, She's still talking. We can't get any tighter.
Can't
We're just
get
gonna
any
stop. We're just gonna stop. So yeah, I felt like those
Reach
moments
the end of the push.
were a little long. The scene in the middle where they drag out losing the phone call, then getting the phone call back, like I'd have tightened up some of that stuff. But I appreciate what they were doing in those moments. I would have just tightened them up.
I loved it, man. When I think his name was Billy, the phone call came in.
Yeah, Billy.
And he's explained everything. They did this thing where Kim was talking about where they would just cut to black for a couple seconds and it would come back and it would cut to black. And I thought all of it, because to me it's like most of the town is at this basketball game. The few people who aren't are sitting in a dark room listening to this call, and it removed the visual element of the story, so you had to do the building in your brain, and I was all about it. I thought it was great. That little old lady, see, like I said, that old lady, Bethel, I can't remember her name now, who lost her son to the aliens. that scene's been done 100 times in 100 different movies. You know, scarier versions, less scary versions, but that thing's happened a bunch. But I don't know, man. I loved it. I thought the way they delivered it was so. It's almost like a cover band who's better than the original band. That's what it felt like to me. It's like, oh man, because you're right. Like these old school long talking moments. The problem with Twilight Zone for a lot of folks is that's what it is. It's a lot of just tight shots on a 50-year-old man with a tie on talking for 15 minutes straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I thought that little old lady scene was killer. It's almost existential thrill or horror. I don't know how to explain the way it makes you feel, but the scene where they're in the back of the car with the two random people who are chasing after the spaceship, and we know what's going to happen. She's told us when you play these words, this thing's going to happen, and both of them start to slowly like look up towards the roof of their ceiling and they lose control. That moment is like, it gets me. I loved it. All those pieces worked to me.
Let's see what some comments are. Russ says, "Yeah, it was so good. The setup at the beginning with the follow, the real
time.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Phil. And the total Twilight Zone. I see. Yeah, he had mentioned that we were talking and he was saying that it was I might have talked to him a little bit about it. He was saying that he liked the genre feel of it. Diana says, "No little green guys."
True.
It was true. I was waiting on those. Soundtrack and score interchangeable, but most people say a score when it's more orchestral.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, it's
And I think, like he was saying, real time. I think the scene of her running, because she ran a couple times. She was just running from place to place.
She just take off like a crazy lady.
Yeah. But the reason that they left those scenes in there was so we didn't. To me, it was like the idea was you didn't lose concept of how much time had passed. Like all this was in like a 2-hour window of the basketball game's about to start off, and the basketball game just ended, and so it was all like the length of the movie was the actual time of the events.
Yeah. No, that felt good.
Brian, you were talking about like the things that have been done a million times. I got so frustrated when she jumps out of that car and runs into the woods. I'm like, great, this crazy thing just happened, and you're doing what every dumb chick does in a horror movie. You just run away from people into the woods to the thing that's really coming after you, and that's exactly what she did. And so when they see it, remember when they see it when they're still in the woods, and I was like, great, they're turning to run out to get away from it, to go back into town, which is what I thought. No, they run further into a bigger field, further away from people that no one's going to find them. I was like, oh, you guys, come on, let's use some common sense here.
That's the beauty of the little old lady's dialogue, because she told them that you lose control, that you don't get to make your decisions for yourself. The moment old boy hit the button and played the song or played the language in the car, they lost the ability to do anything other than what happened to them. The reason they ran into the woods, they explained that dumb idea by that monologue, saying like they take over your brain and they make you do these dumb things. And they're
the two of them didn't look up, so it didn't have that trigger on them. That's what I would have thought if they had started looking up, but they're out of it.
Well,
yeah, it
I
was a
think
little.
it
It
was.
was a little. It was a plot hole for me too. I agree. I'm with
Oh
you,
man, I
Ken.
think they were pulling them that way. I
Because
think
what
they
should
didn't
have happened
respond that
is
one way.
Well, this is
the
what I.
driver and the passenger, because they responded to it. So they've obviously are having this communication. I feel like it'd be better if they had gotten out and ran into the woods. That would have made more sense to me.
I think it's that they responded one way. I think the whole thing was they didn't have at that point they were being isolated. They were being pulled away from everyone, and they didn't respond by looking up at the ceiling, but they were controlled the whole time. Like from the moment they heard the sound, it was a whole process of pulling these individuals away from everyone else.
Yeah, it was. Well, going back to the lady's dialogue, this is where I kind of got a little lost in like just plot, and it didn't. I'm not knocking it. It's maybe a little nitpicky, but it was talking about how they wait for people to be gathered in a location
Yeah.
to like get people alone or whatever, you know. And I was like, okay, all right, I see that coming. And then, you know, he doesn't write down the words, right? But he heard those words said when he came
Mhm.
in. He records it apparently. Then the car when he plays it, he he doesn't react. So they're not like to me that's like signaling like we're not this thing has no control over us, right? And then when they see the thing like in the field, right? I thought like my mind is like, oh, they're gonna play the sound now, like they're gonna play
Yeah, I did too. I thought
on the, and then we're gonna see what kind of happens here, right? Maybe the boy comes back or you know something like that.
Yeah.
I didn't, and even like just how they looked, it didn't look like they were lost control. You know, I don't know if I don't know if that's how I felt or I don't know. I'd have to ask the guy that wrote it, but I don't know if that's what he intended or not. It would be great if that was the if I guess I would need him to tighten up that a little more if that's what he's trying to sell me. Because that, to me, does feel like a better storyline to say that these aliens were sending this signal out to control these guys through the whole thing to pull them away from the flock of the basketball game. And the whole movie is built around them being moved away from the basketball game to ultimately get them to this point to where they could take them and no one would notice or no one would see, right?
Yep.
I get that. I totally
Right.
get that. And I love that. But I don't feel like he relayed that to me in the movie.
Right.
Oh man, I think it was subtle, but I think that's what they were pushing toward. That's why she had to go get the baby. That's what they isolated like because she took
It was
the
weird.
kid
That
the
was
first
weird
time.
too. Why they grabbed the baby, I didn't understand why she felt. The
I
need
think
to grab
she
the baby while was
remembers.
with it.
Well, I think the whole thing with the baby is remember the babysitter calls her and then they're disconnected and she can't get it back a hold of her. So I think she remembers all of a sudden that she never talked back to the babysitter in the middle of this chaos. And so she runs back to get her sister. But
But what I'm saying,
sidebar,
all that was
the other
orchestrated. Like they did that on purpose. They cut the line so she couldn't communicate, so she would go because the little old lady's story is about her son, her young son, who was taken from her, and the whole like all of that. In my mind, the story is that all of that was orchestrated for those three people
Okay.
and this
Wow.
one spot on this night.
okay. So that everything was done for a purpose. They were controlling everything for a purpose to get them where they're at. That's a stretch, but okay.
No, that's
but
the whole
I do
movie.
have a question. I do have a question though. The thing that bothered me the most in the old lady's story, or as she continues the story, I'm still thinking, you never explained this part. Remember when she starts telling the story about the passenger train where everyone goes missing
Yeah.
except for the one girl? Are we to assume that they were all abducted except for this one girl that survived and was repeating the words? They never explained what happened to all the people in the passenger train, and that I was like, question, what happened to that? Like, is that supposed to be tied in to the whole
Yeah.
aliens, or is that like just
If it was
random?
me, I'd have cut
Like,
that
or did
story
the
out.
Indians really
I don't
come
think
and
it
get them? You know?
added anything, you know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
it didn't add to the story, so why put it in there? I don't know. Like, it was like it should have been omitted, or it should have been explained better to me. Like, there should have been more correlation.
It was a way to get
I
the
don't know.
words. They had to get the words to the baby.
Right.
I'd say the other thing I thought was going to happen. So, like you said, TJ, in the field, where I thought they were going to maybe play the soundtrack, or I assumed the little baby was going to start saying the words.
Yeah.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
And that would have freaked me out, man. That would have
It'd been
freaked me out.
spooky.
I was waiting for it.
I agree. I was
there's a
feeling
little
those
baby
two
that
things
sits up its
too.
head and it speaks the words full volume and like it, that's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, I think seeing this movie through your eyes makes it a whole different experience. Like,
Because there's more
especially
intention behind
yeah,
everything.
and especially if you went through the whole movie feeling like that this was all manipulation by these beings through the whole film to isolate these two folks. I
Yeah,
I
when we
just
got that
never got that.
little old lady speech, I was like on the couch, like, oh, like that's what it felt like to me at least.
Did you come to that conclusion at the end or during? Were you thinking, oh my gosh, they're communicating through all these people to push them? Or was that a conclusion you came to after the movie was over?
That conversation with that woman, I think, sets all the pieces in place because
right.
It's like why did they go get that baby? Like why is all this happening? And you go back, it's like so they were looking for the child, the young kid, and why did the phone call just go out on that one person? And someone was already abducted before then. She talked about it, like, hey, it's like there's a windstorm around my house right now, and so like to me it was like there was a whole bunch of dominoes that I didn't see were being lined up. And then when that other woman tells her story of how all the pieces lined up, it's like, oh, I see all these other things. Yeah, in the same way.
I guess I can see that now that you've explained this, because if you think about it, she hears the radio and then she actually gets a phone call, and that phone call is just that noise.
Mm-hmm.
So you think that was the aliens
already
calling her?
targeting? Yep.
Targeting her specifically. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
See, I didn't see it like that. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
and I could 100% be wrong, but that's what I walked away from. I was like, this is a smart thing. Like, it is a clever weaving.
Yeah, I like the intention behind that better. But if that was their intention, I think it should have been tightened up. They should have given us maybe a little bit more of a clue, and not necessarily like sprinkle it in, but make the turn a little more obvious. Because the turn for you was the lady's speech, right? That they're communicating, they're controlling everybody, and like they get inside your head. But to me, when she's talking, it's making me think like, well, that's what happened to your son. Like it's only certain people that are affected by this or sensitive to this.
Yeah, I could see, like I said, if that baby would have started talking, it would have scared me. If Maverick, what was his name? Eddie? I can't remember his name. The main character.
Eddie.
But if that's in that moment, if he would have started saying the words like like if it would have been like if he would have lost control, whatever, they would have taken control and he would have started saying the words and the baby would have started saying the words and that one girl was the only person who still had control of her faculties, that would have been a legitimately mentally terrifying moment that you realize, like when she realizes, oh, like
then you are truly alone.
I thought I could trust this guy, but you are truly alone. Yeah, that could have been a way to make that. I think maybe.
Yeah, I feel like more could have been done at the end. It just left me kind of lackluster.
So what's the Russ has got some comments.
Let's hear.
He's saying that they heard the woman say the words, and here I can show them to y'all too. He says they heard the woman saying the words before she got into her room.
Mm-hmm.
But, and it does. It seems like the words are the words almost to me pull the rug out from your theory. Like if they had left the words out, then like I could see the noise being the thing that's controlling them. To me, the noise was explained away as them communicating to each other, and the words are the means of control.
Yeah, I could see that.
So
it is like two competing pieces.
Right. So that's where I was like, okay, this military guy's explaining that they're communicating. The lady's reaffirming they're communicating via trying to control people. And these words that she heard this person mutter were the means of control or language or brainwashing trigger. So if they had maybe explained the look up thing or the words a little differently, or maybe just left them out, because they never come back except for in the car.
Yeah. I feel like this could be a happy family reunion if they had just taken the old lady with them, and then they just sacrificed her to the ship and ran. That's what they should have done.
I love that scene, man. That was such a weird and like, I don't know, moving or I don't know what it was, but she was like, "Just take me with you," and he was like, "No." Like, it was so,
Because they
it
think
was
she's
so
crazy.
interesting. I should have taken notes, man. What does he say? He said something when he walks in. She was like, "Did you hear me?" And he was like, "Yes." That was very unsettling. He
Yeah.
said something to her.
Yeah, you were
And I
saying
was
some
like, "Oh."
very unsettling things before we walked
Yeah.
in. Yeah.
I love that part.
Yeah, what did you guys think? Let us know in the comments because I'm
And
curious.
Ty, what'd you think? You watched it. I want to hear what you say.
Yeah, I'm curious as to if anyone else picked on what Brian kind of picked up on. I think me and Kim are in the same camp as to where we landed with the sounds and the words. I
I
kind of
think
like
Russ
it.
said
Like
he
I
liked
like
it
I
and was agreeing with Brian.
yeah, he was talking about the 1950s kind of feel, like the 40s 50 vibe. But the the I think I would love to talk to the guy that wrote it though, and want to be like,
Yeah.
because I'm like, okay, if you didn't mean for this to happen, this could be a good twist if you ever go to re-edit this to think about, because that is the thing about Twilight Zone pieces for me that I love is when they're laying this stuff out right in front of you and you're just not realizing it, right?
Mhm.
And then it's that moment where they do all the dominoes kind of fall and you're like, oh, okay, like
Yeah.
they set me up for this and I was a chump and I went for it and wasn't paying attention. And I didn't get that feel from this. I do think it was weird, like visually for me, to see a like modern CGI rendered like spaceship, like in
Yeah.
something that felt dated.
Mhm.
Like it was kind of like, all right, like I mean, it was like
It was passable.
it was tasteful. I mean, yeah, like
Yeah.
it worked, but you're like there was like details and gears and lighting and stuff on it where I was like, I'm thinking like we're gonna go for the traditional saucer, like old school kind of vibe. Let's see what Russ said here. He said I like that it wasn't polished and that it wasn't resolved in a Happy Hollywood sense. That doesn't bother me.
Mhm.
Yeah, I got no problem with the story. Like I felt like it concluded when you got the footsteps there. It felt like one of
Mhm.
those old scary tales before bedtime. Where they're
Mhm.
setting you up for that creepy ending. Because that is creepy when she's like, "It was a dry night and it was just footsteps. It just stopped." It's creepy. Especially if your kid just walks out of the house in the middle of the night after he speaks in gibberish. So
Mhm.
yeah, like I didn't mind the ending at all, but. Okay, visually though, I loved it. I don't want to beat up
Do
on
you,
it. I'm beating up on it for the
do,
monologue parts, but I like the way it looked.
Mhm.
how much of this is it? I should look at the cast and crew and everything because this is one of those movies that I'm like, is it the director? Is it the cinematographer? Like, who is responsible for those shots, those feels, those like storytelling, like camera movements?
Yeah, I
Because
would
I want to follow that
imagine.
person's career.
Yeah, I would
Like I
imagine
want to
in
see what they
this
do.
one that. Okay, so I read about it a little bit. I'll be honest. I didn't go deep down the rabbit hole. Um, but the dude that wrote the movie directed it.
Mm,
Okay, but he's credited under like a different name for writing the
fake
script.
name, yeah.
So he did that under a different name, I guess, so that it wouldn't look like written, directed, produced, blah blah blah, like
Mhm.
all by him.
I did all the things.
Yeah, but I would imagine that if you are directing it and you wrote it, that you're gonna have a pretty good
A
idea in your
vision.
head of what you're trying to tell visually. And he probably just found a cinematographer that he knew could work with him.
Could execute that.
Yeah.
But this is his only thing. Like I'm looking on his IMDb right now. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. It says he's a commercial guy. He self-funded it by shooting like commercial, like corporate and commercial work. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
nuts, dude.
so he's a shooter himself, obviously. He's doing the work himself. So I should have reached out to these guys. I didn't. I'll be honest with you. I was too tied up in the
That's
Pulse stuff.
That's I meant level production, man. Like this is your thing. You know, this is I meant making a movie that kills it.
Yeah, well, these guys probably would have been great to talk to, honestly. But I
Mhm.
just
You still
got too
can.
I got too
You can do a
busy to reach
two-parter.
out.
A two-parter.
Part two Halloween special. Let's see. Diana says, I like Brian's perspective. I enjoyed the movie and the way it was delivered. Yeah, I agree. I actually like it more now the way Brian put it together than the way I
Mhm.
watched it when I was originally there.
But think about the Transformers movies, right?
Okay.
Straight garbage. Just straight garbage movies that don't make any sense and are hard to watch. And how much money they throw at that garbage movie.
No one watches the Transformers for the actual plot. They watch it for things
robots
blowing
to
up,
fight each other.
machines, and
But even
Megan Fox.
the I agree, the robots fighting each other is rock and roll, but even in the Transformers, you can't even see them 90% of the time. You see like ankles and knees like crashing into each other and the same car explosion in every movie every time. I just think about how much better this movie was than the Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, which was $1 billion.
It is definitely sometimes less is more, right? Because like the Transformers just nonstop, where this movie is there's less to it, but sometimes it can speak more volumes.
I like dumb movies. I haven't got a chance to really pull a whole bunch of them. I thought that Rampage, the Rock movie, was a great movie. If we haven't watched that, is when I would have picked it, no doubt. I'm looking for another one of those. Hobbs and Shaw, man, I loved it. I love dumb movies.
Hobbs and Shaw was great. Hobbs and Shaw was good.
Yeah, it's dumb and it's amazing.
Great.
I haven't seen Rampage.
But this one's different. It's funny, dude. It's so funny. I liked it.
Yeah, I think from a filmmaker standpoint, it looks really good. Like if I made this film, I'd be really impressed with it. The tone that it set and the mood that it created was really good, and the score was on point. I personally, though, if I had watched that cut, I would have tightened stuff up. Just me, like I would have gone in there and I would have tweaked some things, but I don't know. It probably got to a point where he tightened it up a lot, I would imagine, and he already filled so many holes with all these kind of like weird transitions or dips to black and those kind of things to cover stuff that he's probably so attached to the dialogue he wrote. He wanted these, the lady to continue or the dude to continue, but to each his own.
Yeah, this is clearly it's a work of love film, and that's
Right.
that's one of the downfalls, of those things is it's hard to be objective about the stuff that matters so much to you.
Yep, absolutely. Let's get to some scores, huh? We actually went really long on this episode. I'm so sorry. All right. I'll start. I feel like start. We'll let Brian finish.
Okay.
So this movie wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. It was as one of Brian's picks. You never know what you're going to get into. I knew nothing about it going into it. He mentioned that it was kind of a low budget film, and that it kind of was a $1 million piece or whatever last week when we went into it. But that's it. I didn't know anything else about it. I don't like scary movies either. Like this would be a scary movie I like. It's like super suspenseful. It builds enough suspense that I feel anxious, and I don't like looking through my bedroom door in the dark. But I can still go to sleep. Like, it's not the payoff of like, I was waiting this whole film for the jump scare and it never did it. And thank you for that. Like, cause I didn't want that. Like I wanted the anticipation, but I didn't want the jump scare to finally like in the scene with the switchboard, you're just waiting because there's like this extra framing behind her, and it's dark and you're like, this is where they're going to do it. Something's going to grab her, and they didn't. So I appreciate that they were able to build suspense through an entire movie that was an hour and a half and never show a monster, or never show an alien, or never have a jump scare of a friend's arm coming in, or it was all done through the camera work. It was all done through the score. And really, to be honest, these actors, when I looked them up, they have some headshots, but they're for the most part just indie actors. They did a great job. They sold their characters very well. I felt connected to them. Like I when you see like a 60s, 50s, 40s kind of like Pleasantville piece, sometimes the characters feel a little plastic. And I thought these guys did a good job of walking the line between like fitting into that mold of like the good old days, the happy days vibe, but at the same time they had like some cracks. Like you saw them get a little frantic every now and then, or get a little scared or a little upset. Um, it was good. I really did enjoy the acting. This had better actors in it than the Peanut Butter Falcon, which is saying a lot. So, yeah, it did. Um, but for all of the good stuff, I think there is room to improve. I I don't, and I hate speaking negatively to it because I really honestly feel like if you gave them more money and you gave them more time, you'd have gotten something that would have been it would have been like Cloverfield esque. You know,
Mhm.
it could have reached that level. A movie that's giving you suspense all the way through to this payoff at the end. And I think they just needed more time. Honestly, I really do. You know. With that being said, I gave it a 72. So not terrible. I think this movie, honestly, if done, like I said, done right, given some more time and money, easily could have been almost in the 80s for me. So just some little tweaks would have got it there. But I would recommend this to someone who's a film buff or a fan of kind of like these Twilight Zone films. So not terrible, but 72. Kim, what did you think?
I mean, basically what you said times two. I fully agree. There was moments when I really loved this movie, and then there was moments when I was like ready for it to be over. So there was definitely some ebb and flow to it. Um, I appreciated the cinematography aspect. I loved the camera moves. Like there was definitely a lot of positives. I just felt like there was some scenes that just went way too long. I hated the when it would come out and transition into like the TV and go to that Twilight Zone TV look and then go to black and they held on that for too long. In fact, at one point I was thinking something must be wrong with the stream and I've lost picture because I can still hear the audio. Like it was very like
During
you
the dip to black,
overdid
is that
this.
what you were saying that about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I was almost like, I think we need to restart it. Like something's happened because there's no way they intended you to sit in black for this long. So for
Not to
me, I
cut you
just
off, but I on that point though, out of all the things they did do, I like that the best. I liked
hmm,
I liked the black like well, I'm gonna let you like I'm intentionally telling you to think about this. Like that's
Mhm.
what I got out of that was like I want you to without saying now close your eyes and imagine us digging in the mine or whatever. Like
Mhm.
it made you do it visually. So I will
yeah.
say I did like that. Sorry. I don't think I expressed that
We'll
earlier when
we'll
you were
agree
saying
to
it.
disagree. I didn't like it. I felt like it was a mistake. It didn't feel like it was done right to me.
We'll agree to
Um,
disagree, eh?
yes,
Hmm.
yes. Um,
Surprise, surprise.
I think that's come on, guys. Come
I like I can use other
on.
people's comments against you.
That's so rude. So rude. Where was I saying? Okay, so that's just some of the negatives. I didn't like the ending. I was literally left with, like I said earlier, I was left with I want more, which could be a good thing. Maybe it was a good thing that I wanted to see more from this movie. Um, so it's like I loved it and hated it at the same time. um, so with that being said, I gave it a 68. I wouldn't tell people not to watch it. I would say go watch it. I would just feels like there's just there I just had mixed emotion of whether I liked it or didn't like it through this whole movie.
Yeah, it's like I think I landed with you. It's like if it's a niche audience of like people, I'd be like, yeah. Russ,
I'm not gonna lie, when you guys watch these movies, are
don't look at the
you
comments right
thinking
now. By the way, Brian, do not look at the comments. Just FY, don't do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Do it.
When you
I'm
guys
blocking
watch
it
this,
with my phone.
Brian, TJ, when you guys watch these movies, are you, as you go through it, you're like, oh, I like this movie, this is good? Are you like, oh no, I don't like this movie? Because I do that in my mind. Like, I already am setting judgment through it. Maybe you guys just wait till the end to decide. But literally, I was like, this movie's weird. Where are we going? I'm so confused. Oh, that's really cool. I really like that shot. I love how they're doing that. Oh my gosh, why are we sitting here for 20 minutes on a switchboard? What is wrong with these people? And then it's like, oh wait, we're flying to the radio. That's really cool. Like, I love the movement here. And then it was like, why is she running out the door like a crazy lady? This girl drives me nuts. I cannot stand this movie. Like, literally, I was like bipolar through this whole movie, like going one way and the other. Anyways,
Yeah, I
no,
try to watch it in
my two
totality. Like I try to get the whole thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I watched the whole thing, but I try to note if something stands out to me.
Yeah.
Like, so I wouldn't say I'm judging it. It's just like, oh, like my notes for this one was like the opening dialogue super fast. Like, I remember watching it and be like, okay, let me note that so I don't forget it later. Like, it's not anything crazy. I wrote down like the steady cam from the gym to the station. Like, I liked that shot. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not picking it apart. It's just like things that stand out to me. But I pretty much don't. I kind of reserve judgment until I get to the end, because some movies I'll start out hating just by the end of it, I'm like, oh, that kind of turned out nice.
Yeah. Like, in my mind, I'm saying, oh, I like this or I don't like that. And I just remember going literally back and forth constantly with this movie of I like it, I don't like it, I like it, I don't like it.
Dinah says Brian looks like. Are y'all crazy?
True.
I don't know. We're gonna find out.
Probably.
We're gonna find out Brian's score right now. See if we are crazy.
I'll be honest with you. I feel like I underscored this a little bit because I didn't want to be overboard about my own movie. So this movie, I feel like I can't. Peanut Butter Falcon. What was my one before Peanut Butter Falcon? TJ, do you remember what was my pick before that?
I can
The
look it up.
zucchini movie, wasn't it?
No,
No, that was a long time ago.
no. I can look it up.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Because we
No,
did
no,
it
no,
here.
it
TJ
was,
was in this room with me.
I'll go to the magic spreadsheet that needs to be audited by Kim's accounting firm.
That's right.
Brian's last movie
I'm waiting
was the
for my
Peanut Butter
retainer.
Falcon. Then he did the Grand Seduction,
The Grand
Oh.
Seduction. That was it.
Daggum Grand Seduction. All right.
and then before
Here's
that
what I
was
was gonna say.
Eurovision.
Yeah, okay. So Peanut Butter Falcon and even Dumpling last week were movies that for whatever reason like triggered very specific like feelings for me, like in me. Like we talked about how Peanut Butter Falcon was not realistic at all to the community that we were from, even though it was filmed there. But like I was a target audience for this adventure-y, bigger than life story. This movie felt exactly like what it's like when you're a kid and you're on your bike and it's a little darker outside than it's supposed to be, and you're riding the bike home and you know that there's no danger, but you're pedaling faster anyway. Like that feeling, that's what this movie
Yeah.
felt like to me. It felt like walking down a hallway while all the lights are off and you know no one's behind you, but you still got to speed up anyway.
Yeah.
This movie felt just like that to me, and I liked it because of that. Like I said, I'm the target audience for this. When you're talking about the niche audience, I'm the niche audience who like try to force my wife to watch all of the Twilight Zones with me, and she was not interested in it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm the one this thing was written for. So I loved it. I thought it was great. I kind of feel like I underscored it because I didn't want to go super big, but I gave it an 85. It might be I keep saying this, it might be my favorite one that we've done so far. Like I loved it. I was telling Sarah, like this is the movie that I think I probably could show like my 7-year-old. It's nothing horrible, but it would be scary enough to be like, whoa. Or he might be like, this is the most boring thing ever. I don't know. But I loved it.
I think the tone of the film would definitely put someone on edge. Like, I think it's gonna creep anyone out, right? It's gonna make them worry, but it's not like I said. It's the hurry in the hallway. It's the pedal a little faster. It's the I don't want to look in through the scary door. Like, but I can still go to sleep.
Yeah, it's like you said earlier. It's the like my door's cracked, and I'm just not going to look at it because that's the perfect thing where it's like I'm not gonna look into the darkness over there. Like I know there's nothing, but like I'm just not gonna look into
Yeah,
it.
but I'm just gonna write that. We're not gonna deal with that tonight. We're gonna let it slide. All right. So we got
I'll save for post show. I got a post show story, but
okay.
we'll save for that.
68, 72, 85. That put our combined score at a 75. So
All right.
yeah, so
Rotten Tomatoes, by the way, has it at 93. I just want you guys to know. I looked it up.
it was what? It was 93.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Was that what was the critics
pretty good.
score thing?
I don't know.
I'm curious.
I saw it. I
We're
read an
always
article.
usually close to the user one, which is weird. So we're pretty
Yeah, I'm
off
looking it up.
base.
Oh wait, I can't move my phone.
Well, here, that's all right.
Here, I got it.
Well,
I'll
okay,
look it up.
I'll show you the comment that I was hiding from you. It's okay. This is what Russ had said. It's 85 for me.
Oh snap!
Yeah.
Russ, we're gonna be best friends, man. I don't know you, man, but we're gonna be best friends.
Well, that brings our new leaderboard 73, 71, 73. Tightening up, man. Brian, you
Oh,
have
did I
come-
change? I was at 69, right? Last week?
Yeah, you came up. Yeah, came up 2
Alright.
points, man.
Look at that.
So
Okay, wait. I have a clarification.
Yeah, what's up?
The tomato meter is a 92%. That's the critics' review, and the audience score is 65.
Oh snap!
Whoa! Wow.
So the
what a
critics actually
wild
gave it a
movie.
92,
The
and
Monday-
the audience gave it a.
The Monday movie night review is still staying pretty intact. Then you said it was 60. What, Kim?
65 is the audience score.
We're actually
And
pretty on
but
the high
that's
side.
a high critic. Like that's pretty high for critic. 92%.
I think
Yeah.
because
I mean, for as
they're
many,
judging it on the criteria
amateur-
of the filmmaker. Yeah.
And
Right.
it's
No,
hard
no.
not to watch it because I kept thinking the whole time, like, because I knew, like I said, I searched for like creepy, underrated Halloween thing. And I think I picked Prime just because we haven't picked that thing from Prime for a long time.
Yeah.
And when I saw that it was a sub $1 million film, I also was thinking that the whole time too. Like, because how much money does it cost to make that daggum spaceship at the end? Like $10,000?
The
I don't
whole
know.
budget.
Yeah, not 700,000.
I know, but like that's a huge chunk of your budget.
Russ says that's because the audience is uncultured swine. All right, so you guys ready for next week's pick? It's Kimberly's.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Kimberly's pick.
It's my pick.
Hate you, Kimberly. All right. So Kim's
Oh,
pick next week. Yes, picked Enola Holmes. I've now FYI, I think we're gonna move to Canon doing the cards. So yeah, he's
nice.
gonna handwrite the.
He was
the
very
picks.
proud of writing
Yeah.
that too.
So shout out Canon for Enola Holmes. It's on Netflix. It's got the girl from
Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah, that one.
Stranger Things.
Stranger
It has
Things.
7 from Stranger Things.
7. It's got
11.
7.
11, not 7. I'm
It's
giving
got
her
the
new
7
numbers.
and
11.
the 11. Get a Slurpee.
It's a Hey Mercedes song.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I guess I never knew that. Well, we'll find out if Enola Holmes. Oh wait, I actually have to cue stuff up. I forgot. Is that the right one? Is that the right one? That's the right one. That's right. That's the right one. We'll find out if Enola Holmes has a 7-11 in it, which I don't think it does because I think it's a period piece. Next week on Monday Movie Night.